Hey friends, welcome back to another episode of the Field and Garden Podcast. It is your friend in flowers, Lisa Mason Ziegler, and I am here again with my good friend Lennie Larkin. Hey Lennie.
Hi Lisa.
So Lennie, we have just launched Lennie's new course, and I want to take you on the inside and look a little bit around inside there. So I want to first start off by saying, Lennie, I do this because I feel like even though online courses is old news to me, it is not old news to a lot of people. They don't understand how it works and what do you do? And do you know what I mean? I can remember funny rabbit hole already. The very first course I ever purchased was a course on how to build online courses. And I was so nervous. The first session was actually live. And I was so nervous that I wouldn't be able to figure it out. I made Suzanne stay, my sister Suzanne, stay at work until 6 o'clock when the class started. She normally got off at 4 because I just thought I wouldn't be able to do it. I had no idea. And of course it was a piece of cake. Right. So I don't want other people to suffer through that.
Yes.
So, all right. So I am going to share my screen and take us for a little walk around inside Lennie's new course. And here we go. All right. So Lennie, I thought that I would just bring us in to have a little look around your course. And so folks, the way you get to the courses is you log in on the internet into your online library of courses that you own with the Gardener's Workshop. And then you would select the profitable flower farming. And so this is what kind of pops up when you come up. And here is Lennie's welcome and the syllabus. Let's just take a little peek at the syllabus here and see if we can look at that. We can. And so whenever you have a download like this in a course, you're really encouraged to print this stuff out, right, Lennie?
Absolutely. We made these great worksheets to we all know that things stick better in our heads if we actually write something down, if we go through an activity. So there's downloads for you to print out and do alongside the course, some of them to do on your own as homework, but really actionable, really step by step.
And so here on the syllabus, you can see there's actually a column that shows you what has handouts. So you can, and I'm the girl that likes to print everything out at one time, so I would be the one to go through here and just print out. So there's actually 4 classes and each class is made up of multiple sessions. So at the beginning, you have a welcome, the syllabus, all your handouts, which, I really love printing out all the handouts together at one time and just putting them in a 3-ring binder. I mean, that's just all about, I love school supplies. Don't know about you, Lennie. Just love all that stuff. And it's just so helpful. And it does allow you to sit down on the fly and digest another session if you already have all your stuff just kind of really lined up. So now we have class 1, which is goal setting. And you can see all the names here: painting the outline of your farm, personal goal setting. Tell us a little bit, just if you can, just a little overview, Lennie.
Yeah, this is really the most, I think, inspirational class of the whole course, if you will. So it's thinking about, okay, you want to build a flower farm or you want to improve your flower farm, but what else do you want out of it? I think once we're so busy, we're running around cutting and selling the flowers, we don't have a chance to step back and think about what do we want out of the business and are we getting that? So I break it down into personal goals, financial goals, sustainability goals, social outreach goals, encouraging everyone to brainstorm in these different areas and then circle back and think more critically. Okay, if you can only accomplish a few of these goals this year, which ones are most important to you? And really encouraging people and walking them through the steps to make these goals SMART goals, actionable, time bound, all of these things. It's really such a fun process, and it's kind of splits the difference between being, I don't know, touchy feely and then really numbers based, actionable. You know, that it's so the numbers people will be happy, but the touchy feely people will be happy too.
And you know what I thought of as you were describing that? That's exactly like what a personal trainer is. It's like people
Totally.
that go to a personal trainer really don't need a personal trainer. They just need that person to help highlight what they need to do and gently push them into doing it, right? And I
So true.
so see that. That is perfect. All right. So, class number two, tell us about this.
So class number two is all about sales channels. So I start out with kind of an overview of all the different options of sales channels that there are for flower farmers, everything from farm stands to farmers markets and other retail sales to wholesale sales channels, selling to florists, which I know a lot of your students are experts in selling to florists after taking Ellen Frost's workshops, and this will kind of tie into some of that too. And then thinking through these different sales channels, which ones might be good for you and why, which ones might be complementary to other ones, why it might make sense, for example, to do full service weddings, but also have a farm stand, and how it can help, you know, choosing the right complementary sales channels will help you with the flow and the schedule of your farm. And also the whole class two really just encourages people to try to be intentional with where they're going to sell their flowers and to not try to do everything. And I think if you don't know this, you look out into the world of flower farming and you see that people are selling every which way. But I can tell you, and Lisa can tell you, like, you're not setting yourself up for success if you're selling to everyone.
It's true. I mean, it tuckers you out. So why don't we take a little look here, maybe into session 7, right? Is that the
Yes,
one?
that'd be great. Yeah.
Let's just, and we can actually, you tell me when you want to stop it. I'll just let it roll, okay?
Okay. Great.
Here in the last session of class 2, you're going to be setting your weekly sales goals. Let's get to it. Here are the main steps in finding your weekly sales goal. And after you watch this presentation, you'll get to work on finding your own with your worksheet. We've expanded the worksheet to include a few more steps to break this down into even more bite-sized pieces to make it as simple and straightforward as possible. But these are the broad strokes. So the broad strokes are a 3-step process. First of all, taking your sales goal for the year, your annual sales or revenue goal that you've set by now. Step 2, dividing this by the growing weeks in your season. And we're talking broad strokes here. So if your flowers trickle in and trickle out at the beginning and end of the year, let's just talk about the main weeks in your growing season. Again, we're thinking in broad strokes and not getting bogged down in the specifics. That's where you get lost. That's where you overcomplicate things. And that's where it stops being helpful. Step 3 is then that we're going to allocate these sales, these weekly sales, between your different sales channels. And I'll give you some ideas of how to think through that if you don't have much of a sales history yet. So let's say you have the goal of bringing in 114 grand a year. At that 30 to 35% profit margin, this is going to be that, 30 grand, 35 grand, up to 40 grand net income level. That's why I chose this number of 114 grand in sales. Might seem like a lot if you're just getting started, but it's certainly attainable. So we're going to take 114 divided by 30 weeks, which might be an average growing season if you employ some kind of season extension. That breaks down to $3,800 a week. And in this example, we're going to allocate that between florist sales, a farm stand, and a wholesaler.
So I think we can stop there if you want, Lisa, and I can explain
further.
Sure.
But, just wanted to point out that so at this point in the course, people have already chosen an annual sales goal. And in this example, I used 114 grand, which is, first of all, a lot of money and also seems like a random number. But it came from an earlier example where I said, listen, you might be watching this course because you want to put 20 grand in your pocket as a part-time job, or maybe you want to replace your full-time salary. And then I said, you might need to make this much in sales in order to replace your salary. And I
Right.
gave some examples of what a net profit margin might look like on a farm. So that's where we got that number. And then we looked at these examples of different sales channels. And I said, okay, what's a typical florist order? What's the range of what a florist order might look like? And I shared from my own farm. I used to have a $200 minimum with florists. It didn't start that way. I started taking any sale I could get.
Exactly.
And then for a farm stand, what's a typical day of sales at a farm stand on a low end and a high end? Same with the wholesaler. So I gave everyone in the course ranges to play with because people who don't have financial histories with their farm, like a lot of people, kind of get intimidated trying to guess at some of
Right.
these numbers. But I said, don't be worried. Here are some typical ranges. Let's just plug and play. And so I'm trying to make these this numbers-based activity really accessible. And this is one of the more heavy-hitting like numbers sessions, but I hope
Right.
it seems accessible and friendly, and you're just taking my guidance on like what numbers you can choose as stand-ins before you have your
Right.
own numbers.
No, I think that that makes really perfect sense. And so, Lee, I just think it's really helpful for people to see and understand, what they're actually going to see and how understandable is that. So tell us about class 3.
Great. So in class 2, it was all about sales channels. Class 3 is all about crops. We know those are the two kind of fundamental things going on in your farm business, who you're selling to and what you're selling them, right? So we look at crops, and I try to help people look at their crops through new lenses, because a lot of people who take this will have been growing flowers for a long time, either in the garden or on a farm. And a lot of people are just getting started with flowers, but I think we all move into flower farming, growing the crops that we've seen other people grow, and it's sort of random. And so I try to encourage people to be discerning because there's so many crops out there, but we should not all be growing all of them, just like we should not all be selling to everyone available to be sold to. So we look at crops through the new lenses of their roles in the marketplace. Are they a filler? Are they a focal? Or that kind of thing.
Right.
But also, what are the specific characteristics of each of these crops that make them attractive to different audiences? So I share some examples from my farm of like how I used to grow really specialty filler crops for high-end florists. But once I built my farm stand and started shifting my business towards the farm stand, I needed to grow a whole new crop plan because I could grow flowers that were more abundant, took up more space in bouquets, and
Right.
like were attractive to the farm stand customer. And so I talk about, I talk on the theoretical level, but also with some examples from my farm and other farms of how your crop plan necessarily shifts over the years as you dial in your customer. But just really looking at crops and saying, why am I growing this crop? Does it earn its place on my farm? And then we dive into crop cost of production, which is like a whole other topic, but this is a great intro to it, into thinking about how much it costs you to grow the crops you grow.
Yeah, I think moving away from growing what you think you want to grow, love to grow is really, really hard. But
Yes.
after you've done it, I mean, I see this just as a perfect course, particularly for somebody that's been doing this for say 3 to 5 years and they're just tired of not making money. Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's like they're ready to just, but they really want to keep flower farming. Yeah. So, all right, tell us about class 4.
All right. Class 4 is so in the last class, we looked at crops and we started thinking about their profitability, but now we really move deep into that. We're thinking like when we're choosing to grow one crop, that means we're choosing not to grow something else that could have gone in its place. So how can we do better on our farms just by being really strategic about the crops we grow and learning how much it costs us to produce them and then how much we can sell them for, and then therefore finding the profit of each. So we talk about time studies and really figuring out your cost of production. And then also we talk about I said session 1, shifting to critical thinking. So this is sort of something as we're nearing the end of the course that I want everyone to take away from it, which is that you're going to face so many forks in the road on your farm. And often you're going to be out there in the field, you're going to be overwhelmed, you're going to be faced with a decision, and there's often no one right answer. There's usually not one right answer. But rather than being paralyzed in the decision, you can stop and think critically about which choice, choice A or choice B, the left fork or the right fork, is going to help you grow your business and maintain it sustainably over the long term. So, because we all know that, like, I'm not going to be out there in the field with you. Lisa's not going to be out in the field with you when you're facing any of these crossroads. But if you can start to learn to take a step back and evaluate the options in front of you critically, whether it's like, do I start selling at this new pop-up or stay at the farm, the farmer's market that I'm at? Do I take on weddings or not? Do I plant out 2 beds of rudbeckia when I've never grown it before, or do I stick to zinnias? Like, all of these things, there's no one right answer, but there's a way to think strategically and get yourself in a grounded place and evaluate the options in front of you. And it's something I talk about a lot in my book, in my teaching, everything, just like helping people quiet the noise of the farm in order to make the best decisions for them at the time.
Lenny, as I'm listening to you, first off, you're really a gift to flower farming.
Oh,
You're a great teacher, and your depth of knowledge in this business side, and you do make it inquisitive. You make it, maybe I should look into that. I just want to repeat what we've said in earlier times talking together. People have to consume the information to learn and build a business. You have to put in the time to consume this stuff, because you're not going to be able to stand out in the field and make those decisions based on the fact, for instance, this course is sitting in your online library and you've only watched 20 minutes of it. And that's what we see happening. And it's happening because people are being enticed by so much noise on the internet. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
absolutely.
I just can't say that enough. And I am not saying social media is an excellent marketing tool. It is, but you have to be the adult and control that. But you have to do the homework. You have to do the homework before you get to go out and play, is what I think of,
Yes.
and that's what's not happening so often, is that folks just aren't putting in the time. And I just think that this course is really a gem for people to really get their business in order, to get that, to kind of start pigeonholing and what they should and what they shouldn't do. And so there's a wrap up video. So this is what your online course looks like inside. And so Lennie, the course, just to review again, for those of you that may not be familiar with our online courses, you have immediate access when you purchase it, meaning you buy it, you log into your online library, and the whole course is right there. And that means that you can really take it in at your own pace, but you have to have a pace, people. You have to. I think that that's oversold sometimes. It's like, yes, you can really take it at your own, when it's convenient, but you have to actually do it. And that's what I'm becoming, the kick in the pants, to say you have to actually do the course, right? So you have unlimited lifetime access. That means you can revisit it continually as your business develops. You have printable handouts. You can watch it on your phone, a tablet, and on a desktop computer. Anywhere you have internet, you can access your course material. So I feel like this course is just for those people that really want to still have a business in 5 years and have, I often like to mention that even if you're willing to suffer as the flower farmer, maybe not making a profit, just not figuring it out, your family may not still be on board in 3 to 5 years. How many nights a week can you serve them cereal? And in the beginning, everybody's in. They want you to do this, but it gets old. And, again, you're the adult that has to make the decision. All right, I love this gig. Now let's get down to the business. And I think the Profitable Flower Farming course is a great addition, Lennie. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you. And I realized just quickly, the one thing I didn't say is that in addition to just, you need to be the adult, you need to get this stuff done, I also hope that this course makes you see that this stuff is fun too.
Exactly.
It'll make your farm more of an enjoyable thing for you to run. And learning about this stuff, once you kind of get past the overwhelm, it's really fun. And I'm shocked. I never thought I was a business person. Never in a million years did I think I would become a flower farm business expert. I just wasn't an entrepreneur. I wasn't a numbers person. I wasn't a business person. But I became that person because I needed to in order to make my farm succeed and thrive. And once I realized how much it helped me, that's what I wanted to turn around and share this kind of love of business with everyone else. So I hope that enthusiasm kind of permeates through to all the students because it really is enjoyable and it'll make your life as a farmer and as a business owner that much more enjoyable.
And when it's enjoyable, you keep doing it.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, friends. So remember, it'll be in the show notes, the links to the course. And the Gardener's Workshop is just really proud to have Lennie come on board as one of our instructors. And because she's a gem, y'all. And this is really used to be a hard subject until she got a hold of it. So really, really grateful for that. And so Lennie, thank you so much for spending time and letting us look around in your course and kind of see what it's all about. And you know, I think that a lot of students are going to be really happy for all your creations.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me on the podcast and on your team too. I'm thrilled to be a teacher with you guys.
So we're glad to have you. All right, friends, until we meet again. Ciao.
Did you know that the Gardener's Workshop offers online courses? Whether you're a gardener or a flower farmer, we cover it all, allowing you to increase your skills at your own pace. So check out our full list of courses today at thegardenersworkshop.com. The Gardener's Workshop, turning all thumbs green.